It is a momentous day for me. I have reached 4,000 watch hours, which for a rather puny, puerile channel that I am, I'm quite pleased about. However, it is not an achievement. No, not an achievement in any way, shape, or form, because I'm still hundreds of subscribers short from being monetized. But my goal here, and certainly this channel 10 months ago or so, was never really about being monetized at all. It was more about just coming up with something creative, a hobby for me. I'd always been quite creative as a kid. I did enjoy drawing pictures and writing stories, and even when I got to my teenage years, I loved making videos. We had borrowed a friend's old massive VHS camera for our trips to America and Ireland, and certainly Ireland was incredibly boring, so we just actually made home videos, and I always loved doing it. And I also did a fair bit of videoing and editing for my A levels and my university, which was brilliant. I just loved doing it, and I'm showing you a bit of footage from my university project, which was, well, I think stands a test of time. Maybe I will share it fully one day. Now, I'm not monetized. To explain to anyone that doesn't know, for anyone that is a professional YouTuber, there are two tiers you need to achieve. The first threshold to get through tier one is 500 subscribers and 3,000 hours of watch time. And believe me, when I first started this, it seemed like a very, very distant goal, a speck on the horizon of achievements. The second tier, this is so when you get to that tier, you're allowed to launch a fan club, which is where I ask people like you to pay me money to act the goat. That obviously means acting like a fool rather than the greatest of all time. I'm not saying I'm the greatest of all time, neither's anybody else. So, whether trying to be mildly amusing on these videos, or indeed provide useful and critical information like a lot of considerably better channels do. No, the second tier is at 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. That is when you start taking some of the money from those corporations, those trading platforms and advertisers. That's where the revenue starts getting directly to the content creators. I hadn't really thought about monetization. I'm still not thinking about it because I'm so far off the pace in terms of the subscriber numbers. I won't go into the entire spiel of how I got here today, but it was a creative itch that I hadn't scratched for a long time, and I decided to do something a bit different. You can call it impromptu streak of innovation. You can call it a midlife crisis. You can call it a desperate search for validation. Probably a bit of all three of those. And of course, while having 4,000 watch hours, or having more than 4,000 watch hours, but fewer than 500 subscribers to even make the first threshold, makes me feel a bit like a gigolo with over 4,000 hours of client facing time, but only a handful of punters. And while I do have some dearly cherished regulars who tune in and support me and who are fantastic, I know a handful of you just absolute superstars. I thought, hey, it would be good to try and get a few more subscribers in, wouldn't it? A few more subscribers to hopefully take me a bit higher, and maybe some of that advertising revenue can come filter through from those large multi-billion-dollar corporations to me, and maybe I could give some of it to charity. Some of it. Obviously, I need expenses, overheads, that kind of stuff. But maybe some of it. So we'll go to a good cause. And the experience of doing this by creating something and hoping to make a bit of a difference and not getting quite the traction that I desired reminded me of a story when a young fella, young Tony, his name was Anthony. That back then he was a regular subscriber to a comic book called Whizzer and Chips. Does anyone remember Whizzer and Chips? It was a comic book, UK comic book in the 80s, divided into two, and there was a character in Whizzer and Chips called Junior Rotter, and I drew a picture of Junior Rotter from scratch, sent it into Whizzer and Chips, and to my amazement, it was published. It was published. I felt validated. I still have a picture. Look, took a picture of me, little me with Whizzer and Chips. Yeah, yeah. And I remember going to the kids at school, kids, friend, bullies. Went to the bullies, needing validation. I said, look, you've heard of Wizard and Chips. I drew a picture of Wizard and Chips and it's been published. And they said, who are you? Go away, you loser. Flush my head down the toilet. But I dried myself off and said, surely you've heard of Whizzer and Chips. It's one of the most amazing comic books in the whole of the UK, second only to Buster. And they said, no, no, never heard of Whizzer and Chips and never heard of JR, Junior Otter, and it's rubbish. It's rubbish. We read the Beano or the Dandy. Ugh. Your achievement is nothing. So I actually went in, took the magazine, the comic book into school and said, look, here's Whizzer and Chips. Here's Whizzer and Chips. And do you know what they did? They took it and they tore it up. They threw it in my face and they laughed and they said, you're a loser. You'll never amount to anything. And the tragedy is, this was back in the day when you couldn't have things online. That was the only copy I had. The only copy. So it's gone forever. The latter part of that story was completely fabricated. They never tore it up or anything like that. I lost it. I lost it myself, being stupid and not taking care of it. But they did. They did completely dismiss me and sneer at me and think my achievement was nothing and worthless. But it didn't bother me. Didn't bother me. It never deterred me from powering on. And I've taken that spirit now. The Wizard and Chip spirit is alive and it's in me. So my YouTube channel was something of my barbaric yelp, which I wanted to sound off from the rooftops of the world. Not really a rooftop of the world, more one of those very small terraces you might find on perhaps a Maisonette on a council estate with three people in there. I know the names could be Max, Mark, maybe Kevin, whoever. But it's a very small group, but it's a good group. It's a group. Our group. It's our group, isn't it? So let's forget all those big people, those big hot shots with their tens and hundreds and thousands and millions of fans and monetization. Let's be a bit more authentic. Let's be ourselves. And no, seriously, there's so many good people out there, and they do such good stuff. They do really interesting, informative, and educational. So hats off to them. They deserve everything they get. And YouTube's not a competition. It clearly isn't, because if it was, I would be struggling at the end. The fat, wheezy kid. No, keep running. Keep running. I can't. I'm going to have a heart attack. Well, at least you went out trying your best. No, the thing is just really kind of. I have to laugh. I have to laugh because otherwise I'd cry. The fact that YouTube is now provoking me and actually just laughing at me. There's laughing because now my feed is getting recommendations for travel AI content. Travel AI content that has more subscribers than I do. And we've already gone through my incident with AI Anthony, and we established that I thought I was better than AI, but clearly the punters don't. And that's absolutely fine. So I'm thinking maybe my niche is a bit off. Maybe I need to try something different, try something new. There's quite a few different things out there. See if I can branch out and perhaps bring in a little bit more of a wider audience rather than just thinking some quirky middle-aged man making goofy jokes is going to get you anywhere in life. So I thought I would get my creative juices pumping with some alternative ideas, some other things I'm really quite interested in and have a bit of a passion for, and thought maybe if I sprinkle in a bit of that and a bit of this and see if it garners attention, see if anyone is interested, and I can get a few more people into the tent, the metaphorical tent, for us to enjoy our jamboree. Have a look at these concepts, and they're just concepts at this point, to see whether you think they've got legs or whether you just think it's me desperately clambering around for a base I don't need to have because I can just enjoy what I'm doing with the people who enjoy me as well. Anyway, let me know what you think. Before today's Gertlush episode of the show, a small request. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, that is a big help. I am just a little guy doing his thing on his own, and I'm nearly at 4,000 watch hours, and I just need some more subs so I can get some money off those corporations, you know, the big ones, those financial bigwigs. So please do click those buttons and join me for my food odyssey. All right there, and welcome to the latest edition of Cooking with Tony, with me, Tony, where I cook in my kitchen, cooking with Tony in Tony's kitchen. Okay, so when it comes to cooking, I am a really simple guy, nice basic stuff. Country food, honest food, that is what it's all about. And there's a kitchen roll at the top there. Oh, right, so this is not some kind of tribute act to Tom Kerridge, no, because he's from Gloucestershire and I'm from Somerset. Gloucestershire's practically the Midlands. That's my opinion, not the West Country. I'm not saying he affects his accent, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's a considerably better cook than me and has more money. Fair play to him. Anyway, so when I got lost on my way to market, ended up in London. So London is a big place, quite scary really, but it's a lot of food around here. And today I'm going to talk you through my favourite foods of the last couple of weeks. Now we're going to start with some homemade chicken wings, that's right, then a little bit of pie, homemade pie, and then we move on to the piece de resistance, that is beef. That's right, some roast beef for you today. So that is going to be a proper job. If you do want to like and subscribe, and then I'll show you these very, very sexy 4K videos, very close up of food. It'll make your mouth water and it'll make you want to subscribe and then buy my book, my cookery book. So please do that. Hello everybody, it's Tony here, the Cinema Sigma, yes, a Sigma male who enjoys cinema from the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s through to the 2000s. Most things beyond 2005 are trash that I don't watch. But today we're going to talk about a particularly interesting subgenre of war film. This is stemming from the late 70s through to the early 90s, which would be the Vietnam War film. I'm sure we all know and familiar with Apocalypse Now as kicking off this very popular subgenre, the eventual evolution into the slightly more challenging realms of Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket as an example, Oliver Stone's more raw, emotional Platoon, of course based on his personal experiences, and then Brian De Palma's Casualties of War, very brutal. And then straight back to Oliver Stone's Born on the 4th of July. So there's been a whole plethora of options when you are perusing the Vietnam War back catalogue. Well, there's one that has been overlooked considerably today, and it is a classic of the genre. I have not seen this film for a very long time, and it was particularly pertinent and moving to me as a child, and it was my first exposure to the Vietnam War. That's right, it's a 1987 classic, Ernest Goes to Camp. The modern world is tough. I'm not from the modern world, and that was pretty tough. And I see so many young people today and the struggles they have to go through, the stress, the anxiety, and the world just bombards them. Everywhere they look, there's pressures to look this way or think this way or to act this way. And I understand, because I was there in your place. I had all the struggles. I struggled with my weight and my physical fitness. I struggled financially to make ends meet, living hand to mouth. I struggled emotionally, psychologically, like we all do. And of course, emotions, thoughts, anxiety, it is a natural part of life. But you have to remember, the bad times are only temporary, whereas the good times you can make permanent. So I launched this channel. It's Tone Up with Tony, where I am able to tap into my experiences, my ups, my downs, the good times, the bad times, the lessons I've learned, and try and share it with the younger generation, so they can see where I went wrong and hopefully learn from my mistakes and make much more out of life. I can share how I learned to walk with confidence and swagger and pride, and establish goals, new goals. Because working through your battles alone, whether that's fitness or health, requires support and discipline and dedication and pride. We can all turn our bodies and minds from ruins into temples, eradicating all those pollutants of the modern world which crush our soul and our spirits. That becomes the foundation for you to flourish, first financially, so you can use champagne as mouthwash to become a more confident, rounded and sensible person, with an appreciation of life and happiness. It's not about lowering the tone, it's about hiring the tone. That's right, hire me, hire the tone. Motivational speaking, presentation skills, general life management, I'm here to help. So please do like and subscribe, and we can go on this journey together. Anyway, so that was me marking my 4,000 hours of watch time goal, whilst also still falling considerably short in the other departments. I thought a lot of people tend to do those sort of videos when, hey, I've got 500 subs, or reached this many watch hours, or made this many tens of squillions of dollars every millisecond from punting out boring, cliched content that you just repackaged a million times before. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fair play. But for me, this is about the journey, the learning process of making these videos and coming up with ideas, but also tapping into the creative aspects within me, which I love doing. I love trying to be different, trying to not be so cliched or normal, ordinary. Just don't be ordinary, as Mr. Keating said. Anyway, sincere thank you to the people who continue to support me and encourage me and like what I do. It means a lot to me. It means more than money ever would. That might sound like a cliche, but it's true. And in fact, I don't, even if I got to 500, I don't think, I never thought this, but if I did get there, I don't think I would set up any of those clubs or anything like that, because I really want to take money off good people like you, ordinary people, hardworking people. I'd rather take some money off the big man, him upstairs, not God, the corporations, and take the money if I did earn any through revenue rather than people. So yeah, that's just me being a bit schmaltzy. But anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you soon.